everyone, and welcome to Making It on Mondays. Today we are going to talk about how to create a fertile mind. My name is Louise Jeffrey. I am an acupuncturist, a practitioner of Chinese medicine, and a mindset coach. And I split my time between my clinic on the North Shore of Sydney and the acupuncture pregnancy clinics in Alexandria and Westmead. And I am also your Making It on Mondays host along with Amy. So we're going to spend about 15 or 20 minutes together today. I'm going to try and keep it to time. And we are going to talk about how to create a fertile mindset. Now, please feel free, if you're on live or even if you're on the recording, if you're watching the recording, to let me know if you have any questions along the way. I'd also love for you to let me know in the comments box if there's anything that I share with you today, if it's something that doesn't make sense or if there's anything that resonates with you, please just let me know. All right, so if you're on live with us now, please let me know, send us an emoji or just say hi. It would be good to know that there are people on with us, and I'll just make sure that I'm set up correctly so I can see the comments. Okay, brilliant. So on to today's topic. Let's talk about fertility and mindset and how to create a fertile mind. Now, if you have struggled or if you are struggling to fall pregnant, you will have likely experienced feelings of frustration and of sadness. And one of the hardest parts of this journey is that infertility is often a silent struggle. And this is really because it's a very intimate and it's a very private journey to be on. And so, women and men are often left with feelings of isolation and even more commonly feelings of disempowerment. That sense of, I've tried everything, but it just doesn't seem to be working. And in a sad and vicious cycle, the stress that's caused by this journey and by these emotions can further hinder our ability to conceive. So how do we break the cycle, right? How do we break the cycle so that we can positively influence our chances of conceiving without denying our feelings? Well, the good news is that working to create a healthy and positive mindset can actually make a huge difference in positive outcomes for fertility. So although mainstream contemporary science and healthcare practices tend to treat the mind and the body as separate entities, there's actually increasing research and evidence-based practice to support the notion that there is a bidirectional relationship between the body and the mind. And we now know that the body and the mind can influence one another, that they do influence one another. And from this, we know that our mindset can influence our fertility in the way that the body influences the mind. So how do we know this? Well, we know that stress affects our health, right? We know this. We know that stress affects our physical body. And we know that when our cortisol and our adrenaline levels stay elevated for long periods of time, that our body systems and our organs start functioning suboptimally. In other words, not at their best. So for example, research tells us that stress significantly reduces the probability of conception each day during our fertile window. Okay? And we know that women with the highest levels of stress markers are twice as likely to experience infertility than those with the lowest levels. So basically, because stress increases the activity of the HPA axis, it decreases our reproductive functions. So in this way, we know that stress impacts our ability to conceive. Now, I don't have time today to go into too much more around stress and fertility, but all we really need to know here is that stress plays a major part in our reproductive health. And we also need to know that we have the ability to impact our stress levels by using our mind, right? And using our mindset and adopting a more positive mindset. So we know that a more positive mindset can positively impact our fertility. And we now know that the body and the mind, as I said, can influence one another. And we know that our mindset can influence our fertility. So the question really here is, and that's what I'm going to answer today, how can we positively influence our mindset to create a more fertile mind that will create a more fertile environment for our bodies Does that make sense? So that's really what we're going to be talking about today. And I'm going to get into that in more detail shortly. But before I do, let's just talk about the words that we use, because it's really, really important to understand the impact of our words. When people are struggling to conceive, they're already experiencing emotions that we would consider to be more negative or unwanted, right? Like sadness, or helplessness, or feelings of disempowerment. And for a lot of people trying to conceive, when you're trying to conceive, when you hear the words or the word infertility, it triggers the thought of, I'll never have a baby, right? Which then creates even more of a negative mindset for us. But on the other hand, when we start saying the word fertility, it creates a positive thought of being in a fertile state and of being able to conceive. So can you see how the power of a single word can influence a more positive or negative state of mind, right? And a state of mind can influence our fertility. So then why not focus on words that influence us more positively? Yeah, does it make sense? So with that in mind, I wanted to share a quote with you, which I think sums up this sentiment perfectly. And I'm not sure who wrote it. It's actually unclear, but it goes like this. Watch your thoughts, they become your words. Watch your words, they become your actions. Watch your actions, they become your habits. And watch your habits, they become your character. Watch your character because it becomes your destiny. Now, for me, what this highlights so beautifully is the power of our words in helping or in hindering us to create success in our lives. And also to influence how much stress we feel in our bodies at a time when it is really helpful for the body to adopt a more relaxed state of being. Now, I'm not suggesting that it's our words alone that are stopping us from falling pregnant, not at all. Only that it is our words that can create a more positive or negative mindset, which can help support our bodies on our fertility journey. And I hope that makes sense. So moving into the action that you can take towards creating a more fertile mindset. Dr. Domar, who founded the Mind Body Center for Women's Health, created these 3.5 immediate mindset choices that I'm going to share with you that she says help us to live in fertility, as she puts it. All right. So 3.5 immediate mindset choices. Number 1, she says, is absolute belief in a positive outcome. Now, we all know that it's hard when we're trying to conceive to have that consistently positive mindset that helps us to give our bodies the best possible chance of conceiving. But what is interesting is that us thinking that this cycle may not work to try and protect ourselves, because that's what we do, from being let down, is actually not helpful at all. What we know from neuroscience is that believing that we are able to have something makes the body and the mind far more open to achieving that goal. So going into every cycle, believing that this one will work is going to go a long way in supporting the body in conceiving. All right? So I hope that makes sense. Number 2, says Dr. Domar, is on your fertility journey, remember who you are and focus on your best self. And what she means by this is it's easy when we can't achieve what we want to believe that there's something wrong with us, right? And to define ourselves by the label of infertility. But remember that you're not being able to conceive doesn't define who you are. Yes, struggling to conceive or not being able to start a family now is a life crisis at this particular moment in time. And I'm not taking away from that. And for sure, it's a very significant life crisis. But your best self, despite your challenges in life, is strong and she's alive. So what Dr. Domar suggests is to do what it takes to find your best self again. Think about what defined you prior to this current life. Start reigniting your hobbies, your talents, your solid supporting relationships, right, that you had before, because it's so easy for us to get lost in the label of infertility. And what she's suggesting here is to remember who you truly are despite this journey. And she's not suggesting to ignore it or to pretend that it's not happening, not at all, but really just to stay strong to the core of who you are, not to buy into the label of infertility. So I hope that makes sense. And then number 3, third on her list, is the one we've all heard before, but it's a really, really important one, and that's gratitude, where we focus on being thankful for our life's precious moments. Now, it's so easy to feel down and to feel sad and to feel anxious about our lives when we're struggling with fertility. And again, she's not saying deny yourself these feelings, but when you can and you feel up to it, spend time journaling things that you are thankful for. I love to journal at night before I go to bed to remind me of what I have in my life, especially in these times of struggle. And now, after number 3.5 is this. Dr. Dormer says, allow time in your day to be sad or to be mad or to feel any emotion that you are feeling. Make an appointment with yourself if you find it hard to feel your feelings, where you can just sit in silence for just 10 minutes or so and just be. Be aware of your thoughts without judgment. Be aware of your feelings. Just acknowledge them and then let them pass. Because what I know to be true, and I've experienced this through my own journey, and I see this in my counseling practice too, is what we resist persists. You know, so many of us have learned to push away our uncomfortable feelings because we're afraid of feeling them, right? We were never, or perhaps we were never given the space to be comfortable in feeling our feelings. And so our natural reaction is to push them away. But when I learned how to be with my feelings, and I learned how to just allow them to be there, it was literally life-changing for me. And when we allow our feelings to just be there and we don't try and repress them, what happens is that they move through us naturally and they set us free. I hope that makes sense to you. So to summarize, here are our top tips for creating a fertile mind. Number 1 is to focus on positive words like fertile and fertility, because they create a positive rather than a negative mindset. One of the affirmations that I used to use when I was on my fertility journey was, thank you, God, for my fertility. Now, you don't have to use the word God if it's not something that you're comfortable with. You could just say, thank you for my fertility, and feeling gratitude. But it was really, really helpful in helping, I really believe in helping my body to open up into a more fertile state. So focus on positive words. Number 2 is to plan for your fertility treatment to work. Visualize yourself pregnant and with a new baby. And, you know, whether or not you believe in the law of attraction or the power of the unconscious mind to seek out those things that are going to help us to get what it is that we want, it doesn't matter. Neuroscience tells us that visualization and positive affirmations are really powerful in helping us to achieve what we want in life. Then number 3, remember who you are and connect with your best self. Don't define yourself by the label of infertility. Define yourself by the essence of who you truly are. And then number 4, try at least once each day to be grateful for what you already have in your life. Feel the energy of gratitude, because it creates such a positive mindset and it creates a relaxed body. And then lastly, point 3.5, allow yourself to feel. Take time to honor your feelings and don't repress them. Because what this does is it allows us to give those feelings permission to move through us, and for us to then focus on a more positive and proactive mindset. So that's it for today. I have managed to come in at 14 minutes. I'm really, really proud of myself. I hope this has been helpful. If it has, please let me know. Let us know in the comments box. I'll be back next week at the same time. Happy Anzac Day for those of you that are in Australia. I'm signing off now. Have a beautiful rest of your day and have a wonderful week. Bye for now.